Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Maria and I make personal development content here on YouTube. And so in today's video, I wanted to get on here and talk about 3 ways that we know that God is giving us our heart desires. And so first of all, I just want to start off by saying that it is in the Bible. It is written in the book of life that God wants to give us our heart desires. And sometimes we may get caught up in God, I don't really feel like you're giving me my heart desires right now because things are not looking that way at all. But that's why I want to get on here and talk to you today about ways that you will know that He is working on those things. So the first way is He is literally preparing you for it. And I think a lot of times when we don't feel like we're getting our heart desires in the time, in the fashion, in the time frame that we want God to do it, and we miss it. And so here's a great example of that. So for instance, you may be really desiring marriage. That may be something that's really truly near and dear to your heart. You want to get married. You want to have a beautiful marriage, a beautiful covenant. And you may have just recently went through a heartbreak, or you may have recently just went through a break with your significant other, or you may have just had a breakup or things like that, and you're like, God, when am I actually really going to get what my heart desires? Like, you promised me that I will get what my heart desires. When is this happening? And that's the first sign that God is doing exactly that. We think that it should look how we think it should look. Like, we think it should look like what we see on movies, what we see on social media. But the truth of the matter is that God is preparing you for your husband. God is preparing you for your wife. So as you go through that heartbreak and you go through those lessons in that heartbreak and you evaluate that relationship and you say, what happened? What made this relationship fail? Where can I improve? Where can I be better? What did I allow that I should not have allowed? What boundaries have I still not set yet for myself? What do I keep having happen to me over and over and over again in each relationship that I have not picked up on yet? What lesson am I still missing? Where can I grow? Where can I develop so that I can be in preparation and ready for when my husband comes? And that right there is sign number 1 that God is preparing to give you your heart desires, because He is shaping and molding you into the wife to be. He is shaping and molding you to be the woman that you are called to be. He is shaping and molding you into the character that you need. He is shaping and molding you into learning from these things of failed relationships, so that when you go into the next relationship, you don't fall for the same lies, you don't fall for the same excuses, you don't fall for the same type. But God said, until you learn from these things, I cannot give you everything that you need, because you're not prepared for it. And so this is why when we go through this heartbreak and we go through all these things, God is saying, I'm molding you. I'm preparing you. And just because it doesn't look like that, it seems like it's just a failed relationship. It seems like, I'm just trying to be harsh. It seems like I'm trying to take away the people that you love and you care about so much. And, the person you thought was your husband. It seems like I'm trying to do these things to you. And in fact, I'm doing just the opposite. I'm preparing you for your true husband. That is sign number 1 that God is giving you your heart desires. The second sign that God is working on your heart desires is you are exactly where you once wanted to be. So for example, one thing that I always like to think about is I always was like, God, I just want to be able to have my own place. I want to be able to make enough money so that I can, be able to afford to not live at home with my parents. And I really just want to be able to have that kind of time to myself and just really be able to grow by myself and do all those things, right? And before I was able to do that, it's like I was praying for those things, but I didn't really necessarily know when it was going to happen. But now here I am in a situation, and then it could be a situation where I'm like, oh gosh, God, I know I asked for all this, but dang, all these bills, the rent is going up, it's crazy, yada, yada, yada. And so we sometimes forget that we are exactly where we are exactly where we once wanted to be. So that's a second way that God does give us the desires of our heart, is that just because it doesn't happen in the timing that we expected it to, or the way that we expected it to happen, does not mean that he's not going to give it to us, because we are a living testimony right now into that place. If we look back 3 years ago or 5 years ago, we are in the exact place, or we have one of the exact things that we were once praying for. That is proof that God gives us the desires of our heart. And then finally, the third way that we show that God gives us the desires of our heart is the opportunities that you are being presented. So maybe, for instance, you want to be a doctor. Let's say you want to be a doctor, and you feel like, it has been a little hard for you to be able to afford being able to go to school and also be able to afford your bills. And something ended up happening where you were able to find a school online where you can learn and get your bachelor's degree and whatever you need to get it in, and still be able to go to school, and still be able to work, excuse me, while you're getting this bachelor's degree. And in fact, not only that, but you also are able to afford, and the schedule works out perfectly where you're able to work full time and then go to school at night for this exact doctorate program that you are looking to do, or this bachelor's program that you're looking to do in order to become a doctor. This is an opportunity that God has presented to you. It's not a coincidence that everything is aligning perfectly. It is because God is providing you with that opportunity, because he wants to give you your heart desires. If this is something that he has called you to do, he is going to align everything to work out for you perfectly. And then you'll start to notice, like, things just seem so much easier. Things are just coming together, and you just feel like you're walking down this path exactly to where you've been praying to be, to exactly who you have been praying to become. All of those things, a lot of times we think it's just like a coincidence, or we think like, oh, things just happen to happen that way. No, God has provided that opportunity because you have come to him. You have told him your heart desires. You have told him that you want to be able to serve his people by being able to be a healer to people who are ill and sick and wounded and things of that nature. So God is preparing you and giving you those opportunities so that you can all together come together and fulfill your purpose that he has called you to do, to be a doctor. And so these are three ways that God will show us, and he is constantly showing us that he will give us the desires of our heart. And so it is ways that sometimes we, again, think that, like, oh, it's just a coincidence, or it's just things just kind of happen to plan out that way. No, it is because God is working to give you desires of your heart, and he is not a man that he shall lie. So really, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.